give you a concrete example of failure of government. Failure of government. Mark Schauer, 17 jobs he brought to Michigan and Washington County a couple of months ago. He said that, you know what, this is what we can do for you. That is, we can create jobs. That money came from the stimulus. Am I being heard here? Not working?
You want to take Brian's?
Turn it up a little.
Can you hear me now? It sounds better. I'm getting some feedback, yes. So, Mark Schauer says he's coming and bringing jobs. He's bringing federal largesse. But what he didn't tell you about those 17 jobs is that for each one of those jobs, in direct and indirect subsidy, it costs the taxpayer taking money out of your back pocket, almost $250,000 per job in direct and indirect subsidy. Just what, a week and a half ago, Barack Obama came to Holland, $187 million given over to a Korean company for battery development and I guess manufacture for the so-called green cars. So 300 jobs are going to be created as part of this development. $500,000, if you do the math, it costs the taxpayers for each one of those jobs. Now, are those jobs real? Of course they're gone after the government subsidy is over. Now, I spent my whole life creating jobs. For the last 35 years, I've met a payroll, built a business. I have not been spending those last 35 years building a political career. I believe that we need someone who has the actual on-ground experience in terms of.
But the question, Marvin, was, sorry to interrupt, the question was, how do you see the role of the federal government in the economy?
The federal government has to get out of the way, right? The federal government stands in the way of job creation, of real value, establishing real value. When I was trying to get something done in the city of Ann Arbor in the development field, there was many obstacles put in my way to build, for example, buildings and renew projects in the city of Ann Arbor.
Obstacles that you feel were frivolous and not needed. I mean, obviously regulation needs to be there to a certain point, but you're talking extra obstacles.
Absolutely, and all businesses have faced exactly those same obstacles. The regulation simply has to be reduced.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. Yeah, go ahead, real quickly. You know what? While you're doing this, the exchange, okay, they want to have an exchange with each other, and that's fine. I want to throw in the next question, and it may help that, and that is, so the question was, what's the role of the federal government in the economy? What do you see? And so what are we going to expect from you when you get there? The second question is, in your estimation, what can government do to create jobs? So if you want to have an interplay with that, go ahead.
One of the questions you talked about earlier was stimulus. One of the biggest problems with the stimulus is that you saw it here in Michigan last year play out with the balancing the budget. What the federal government did is take our taxpayer monies and they sent it to Lansing and other state capitals that were in trouble, and they filled the budget holes there. So they substituted state debt for federal debt with our federal taxes, kicking the can down the road for the next governor making tough choices because maybe Jennifer Granholm didn't want to make tough decisions. We're going to face a very difficult budget next year. So when you talk about what you can do down in D.C. to help Michigan out, well, one of the things you can do is to say, hey, we're not going to kick the can down the road. We're not going to use federal monies to substitute for state debt. And the other thing is you talked about how you create jobs. Somebody said it earlier, but the federal government doesn't create jobs. When they do it incredibly inefficiently, and they spend our money to, create a small number of jobs for an incredible amount of money. You get out of the way. You allow entrepreneurs to see what the future holds for them so that they will be able to spend their own money, create their own jobs. You encourage people to move to Michigan. Instead of the mentality that Michigan is closed for business, the mentality should be to people that are living in this country or living in the state is, you know what, instead of moving to Texas or Florida, I'm going to move to the Texas or Florida in the north, Michigan. because this is where it's most favorable to live. These are where the incentives are for me to live and raise a family. The federal government's job is to keep taxes low, not put on onerous taxes like the estate tax and the capital gains tax, raising that from what it is now 15% to 39%, what President Obama wants to do. Those are things that the congressmen and women can do to rein in the size and scope of federal government, rein in federal agencies that we have that are completely out of control, like EPA that is hurting family farms as we speak. We have resolutions of disapproval in the House that we don't use enough, that is a tool to rein in these federal agencies. So those are some of the things you can do to help the folks here in Michigan get back to it.
All right, thanks. Tim or Marvin, would you, anything else on the topic?